Well, hello YouTube. How we doing tonight? Good. I hope everybody's doing wonderful. Yeah, it's dark. Working 12-hour days doesn't leave a lot of time of daylight, so I'm not doing this at the lake. But there was a conversation in a live chat I was at over there at Charles was, and we were talking about symbology telephones. And I never really thought about it till he mentioned it, but they're in the Matrix, right? Um, Superman goes into a telephone booth and changes, or Clark Kent goes into a telephone booth and changes into Superman, right? Doctor Who travels around in a telephone booth, okay? And the symbology there is, okay, this right here, these are flowchart symbols, okay? And the rectangle here, now this one's laying on its side. I mean, we could turn it over and make it look like a telephone booth. I was going to spin my whole screen. Okay, but that's called process. Okay, or processing is another way. And why is that important? Why is that in everything? Well, it probably has more to do with, let me get to this right here. This comes from the Hopi prophecies. I'm sure people have seen stuff like this before. Here's the ascension. There's the process box. That's what that is. And then remember I said it's not about heaven or hell. It's about which timeline you're going to find yourself on. So these are the two choices. One is the future, I do believe. And the other one is the past. Now, where we go one, we go all. So the past is nothing more than being younger of age. You know, your children walk a different timeline than you do. You're still here at the same time, but, and then this right here, the swastika, turned into an evil sign. To me, that just represents the plane we're currently living on. Got the four sections, the four corners, flat earth, whatever. Okay? So that's what everybody's going through right now. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we've reached the end of the timeline. We're back to 0 point with Adam in the garden, right? So there's the process box. That's what everybody's doing right now, being processed, so to speak. We're going to go in as Clark Kent, and we're going to come out something other than human. Okay? Now, for the longest time, I've been discussing the fact that, the things in our past aren't necessarily as they would appear, as they would have them appear. And you've seen this symbology before. And some of this is going to be covering over some stuff I've already done. I've picked up several new subscribers that haven't seen any of my videos except the most latest one, so they don't know where I'm coming from with half of it. But there's the handbags. That was from the Sumerian days. Remember I said it's the same thing right there. Okay? It is what it is. I can only tell you how I see things and how I piece it together. So anyway, in the past, okay, in some of my earlier videos, I was discussing the fact that, Knights of the Round Table probably weren't as glamorous as Hollywood makes them out to be, right? They were probably part man, part machine. Yeah, it's armor, but it was on the outside instead of on the inside. And there may have even been some outside armor. It's just... it's just the way I see it. That was probably the time, like I said, that we were hooked up to AI. And I'm trying to scroll through here and find a couple sets of pictures that I specifically took to help confirm what I'm saying or whatever, because this stuff is out there. I mean, all I ever show you is the news headlines, right? And how I perceive it, just like right here. We talked about this one. Now, this is saying a big whack formed the moon and left traces deep inside the earth. The other one I showed actually said there's an ancient planet living inside the earth, and that's us. We are the ancient ones. I hear people talk all the time about the ancient ones returning. That's us. Okay, here we go. So now this gets kind of crazy. Let's see if I can find it again. Right here. Okay, this came out of the news, and this was several weeks ago. Archaeologists find a medieval skeleton with a prosthetic hand. Okay, and what they're showing as a prosthetic hand is that right there. Now, you got to understand, medieval times, they forged their metal over an open flame. Okay? They weren't making stainless steel. And if this thing has been buried in the ground for supposedly thousands of years, where's the rust? It's not something forged back in those days. If it was forged the way they said it was, is not going to hold up like this over the course of time. Okay? That's on the inside, not armor on the outside. And there's even another one, and I don't remember when it was I took those pictures, but this one here is actually in a museum. Now this is the hand, the forearm, all the way up to the shoulder. And look at that. Again, when you forge stuff over an open fire like they said it was done, first of all, everything is going to be a one-off. Nothing's going to be exactly the same. And that hand looks exactly like the other hand, which means they were probably mass-produced. Okay, I'm just saying. This comes right out of the news. This one's in a museum. I don't make this stuff up. Like I said, it's just not. The story isn't exactly the same as what we've been told. That's why time is running backwards to fix all this, because there again, the symbology is everywhere, right? The doctors are waiting, and I've said this before, doctors are waiting for you to be born. They were waiting for us to be born. That's why there's certain, and I haven't seen them, I've only heard about them, but ancient aliens did a little thing about, the reptiles being here before us, and a lot of people have questioned whether it was even our planet because there was people here before us. Yeah, that's why they were here before us, because they were waiting for us to be born, just like a doctor. And this right here, I've discussed it 100 times. This is exactly why the truth is so hard to find, because one, it just doesn't matter. Okay, when we leave this realm, like we've left several other realms, okay, we're not going to remember this, just like you don't remember those past realms. All you're going to remember is what you knew before, which is part of the process. Okay? And the whole running around and killing, because it wouldn't just be them. People will be going batshit crazy and killing more than just, the people involved. Okay, it's just the times we're living in. I don't know if you've noticed people getting just a little bit more crazier, and they don't see it. They think they're being perfectly normal. It's the energies. Okay, so it was the killing of things that got us into this mess in the first place. After we were tampered with, we became killing machines. Like I said, we were altered, dumbed down. I mean, look at today. People talk all the time about how programmable humans are, right? Well, we were programmed to kill. And some of that still stays with us today, right? Oh my goodness, sorry about the noise. But I want to show you a couple more oddities, okay, that sometimes just make me scratch my head and go, huh. Okay, that is an SR-71 Blackbird. Fastest, most stealthiest plane that our military has ever made, right? And it actually has a thing on it right there. Okay, now what that thing does is it navigates the sky. That thing flies so high that it doesn't use GPS. It uses that thing right there. And the only reason I bring that up, because, you know, this is a commercial out of the 80s, I believe. Anybody remember that? Okay. Because, you know, when you're looking at all this stuff, you just kind of have to scratch your head. Because this thing here's name right here, that is this thing right here. Let's see if I can get it to show up. Because you have to see it. You may not believe me if I just tell you what it says it is. I can't bring it in with this on that. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, it's called an R2D2, and actually it's an R2 unit. Because like I said, it keeps track of the stars when that thing is in flight. Now get a look at this thing. Let's see if I can do it from here. Yeah, it's still not going to bring in the wording. But that's an R2 unit, and so is that right there from Star Wars. And that's the airplane he serviced. I just thought I'd throw that little tidbit in there. Alright, I'm going to run out of juice here, so I'll make this one short.